All right, let's talk about the communication maze. You know, that giant, frustrating puzzle that drives both us and the companies we deal with totally crazy. Let's dive in. Oh, we've all been there, right? That feeling, having to tell your story again and again and again. But here's the thing, that's not just a bad day or a bad agent. Nope. It's actually a sign of a much, much bigger problem in how companies are set up to talk to us. So where does this all start? Well, it starts with what I can only describe as a digital flood. I mean, businesses aren't just dealing with phone calls and emails anymore. They are literally drowning in messages from all over the place. And every single one of those messages is like a separate little island, totally cut off from the others. Just think about it. It starts on the apps we're on 24/7. You might shoot a DM on Instagram about a package, then post a comment on Facebook asking what's up, and then maybe hop over to WhatsApp to check on the same order. 3 different places, one single problem. To the company, it looks like 3 different conversations.
Okay, now let's add another layer to the chaos. All the review sites. A 1-star review on Google or in the App Store, that's not just some random feedback, right? That is a public flare signal, a cry for help. And it needs a fast and, this is the key part, an informed answer. And believe me, it doesn't stop there. Then you've got the professional chatter on LinkedIn, the super detailed questions on Quora, and those intense community chats on Discord. I mean, there's gold in there, amazing insights. But for the business, it's like they're all happening on different planets.
And to top it all off, you have the company's own internal stuff. Their CRM, their call center notes, maybe even what happened when you walked into a physical store. These are supposed to be the bedrock of their business, but they're almost always completely disconnected from that digital flood we just talked about. And that disconnect, that's the silo. That is the exact reason why you have to explain your problem for the 5th time. Wow. Okay, when you lay it all out like that, it sounds like an absolute nightmare to manage, doesn't it? But here's the thought. What if the solution isn't to try and tame every single one of those streams? What if it's about completely changing the way you look at them? The real answer, the elegant solution, is actually super simple in concept. Instead of trying to juggle a dozen different conversations, you just create one single point where they all come together. You take all that noise, all that chaos, and you funnel it into one clear, unified picture. Yeah, the whole idea is to stop building walls between your channels and start building a bridge, one single bridge. You connect everything. And that's the philosophy that turns that tangled mess we saw into a straight line. Now, there's a fancy industry name for this, omnichannel. But don't let the jargon fool you. It's not just about being on Facebook and Twitter. No way. It's about making Facebook and Twitter and your email and your phone calls all talk to each other, so the company has one single crystal clear view of you. It means that no matter how you get in touch, they already know who you are and what you need. When you get right down to it, this whole approach is just 2 simple steps. First, you have to listen, and I mean really listen, everywhere. And second, you have to act smartly on what you just heard. So let's dig into what that actually means. Okay, step 1, listening. And let's be clear, this is not about just kind of keeping an eye on your Twitter mentions. This is about actively vacuuming up every single comment, every DM, every review, everything, to build a complete 360-degree view of what people are saying. And if you're wondering why this is so important, just look at the numbers. More than 62% of the entire planet is on social media. And guess what? Pretty much the exact same number of people now expect to get customer service there. It's not a nice to have anymore. It is the new standard, full stop. And the money side of things tells the same story. Every single month, you've got 130 million people interacting with shopping posts on social. That's where people are buying stuff now. So if that's where the sales are happening, you can bet that's where the customer service needs to be. Okay, so you're listening everywhere. Awesome. But now you have a new problem, right? A mountain of data. It's just too much for any human team to handle. And that is exactly where step 2 comes in. You have to act on all that data. And really, the only way to do that effectively is with AI. So here's how that actually works in practice. It's pretty cool. A message pops up, could be from anywhere. Instantly, the AI reads it and figures out the vibe. Is this person happy? Are they about to explode? Then, it automatically figures out what the problem is, sends it to the perfect person to handle it, and even gives that agent some smart ideas for how to reply. And for the really easy stuff, the AI can just handle it automatically. The way to think about it is this. AI is the engine that makes the whole omnichannel car go. It's the brain power that takes all that listening and turns it into smart, fast, helpful action. Okay, theory is great, but what about the real world? What kind of results does this actually deliver? Let's talk about the real impact, the stuff you can actually measure when you go from total chaos to total clarity.
First off, speed. By letting AI do all that sorting and routing, companies are seeing issues get resolved up to 37 times faster. 37! Just think about the last time you were stuck on hold. This kind of tech could make that a thing of the past. It's a huge, huge deal. Then there's efficiency. All those boring, repetitive questions, like what are your hours, can be 100% automated. And this isn't about replacing people, it's about freeing them up. It lets the human experts focus on the really tricky problems where they can actually make a difference. And finally, the part everyone always asks about, the money. What's the bottom line? Well, for a big company, putting all of this together can save them up to $8 million a year. That's what happens when you solve the maze. So let's just recap the value here. You get one platform, one single view of your customer. It plugs into the stuff you're already using. It covers every single channel. And the payoff? Huge savings in both time and money. It's pretty undeniable. And that leaves us with one last kind of mind-bending question to chew on. We've seen what AI can do right now, but what about tomorrow? As AI gets even better at understanding not just our words, but our tone, our frustration, our happiness, will that line between talking to a person and talking to a machine just completely blur away? Something to think about. Thanks so much for tuning in.